We have a Singer Quantum Stylus 9960, and the note from the owner is that the bobbin spins and thread knots. This is another one where I don't really have background on the person who owns the machine, whether or not they've been sewing for years or not, or just started sewing. So we can take a look at and see if we see any clues as to what could be wrong. So up here we're looking at the thread. So the thread is not installed correctly. So anytime you have your thread installed, you should have something to hold it in place. So normally this would be like this. So I don't know if this is how they were sewing or not, but we will continue to check out this machine. So that could be an issue, since they did say there's a problem with the bobbin. Okay, our bobbin thread is going through the tension for the bobbin, so that's good. Bobbin looks good. Let's take off this needle plate and just take a look, and then after that we'll get to the rest of the teardown here. At first look, the bobbin case looks okay, so I'm not going to give it a failing score just yet. There's a little bit of roughness over here, but we'll see. We'll get to that when we get to it. Okay, we're going to get to the teardown. So as I'm tearing this machine apart, remember that we sell these tools on sewingmachinerepairguy.com. So these are plastic pry tools. I have a set. When you buy a set, you get 4 pieces. So these 4 pieces, and I've been using these for a little while. These turn out to be some of the hardest tools, so they actually last longer than a lot of the tools. So my old set used to be this one, where you can see is kind of gunked up on the end after a lot of use, and this one is holding up nicely. So our new set that we have holds up really nicely to use. And so these are really great machines or tools because they don't scratch your machine, the plastic on your machine when you're removing it. You'll see people use screwdrivers, and it just makes me cringe when I see a screwdriver come out to pry these cases apart, because that screwdriver is going to leave all kinds of marks, and those marks can actually hurt your sewing projects, because the plastic that you've deformed there and created a sharp edge will grab your fabric on your workpiece and mess it up. So I like these to open up a machine. So there you go, we found that clip right there. There's another clip over here, and then there'll be a clip on the back somewhere. Okay, once we get this almost all the way out, we got a couple of connectors we got to pull. So if you look down there, you can see them. Just figure out which side is easier to pull them off. Looks to me like I would like to pull them off the front. Or not. Maybe not. Maybe we'll pull them off the board. The main board over here. There's one. Much easier. Okay. So for this one, the board would be easier. While we're here, we'll do a little bit of looking at this. We got a couple of buttons here, so that may be for testing. That's odd that they would have buttons. I'm guessing that's for some testing. You've got the little buzzer right here. Here's the brains of the operation. So this right here is a little chip that tells everything what to do. And this isn't the only board on this machine. If you look on the front panel, so right here is your little LCD screen, and on the back side of that is this panel. So here's your touch screen down here, and then up here is the back of your LCD screen. It's got its own little brain right there, and up here are some of the buttons and lights and everything. pretty nice. You got a metal frame construction, metal all the way across. So we've got metal that's driving everything on top, and then on the bottom we've also got metal. There's our gears down here are going to be plastic. Modern machines are going to have plastic gears installed. This nylon is pretty strong stuff. It's not bad to have that in there. The plastic of the 1950s and 60s was not strong stuff, so that stuff degrades over time, especially with the grease that they put on them. It helps to degrade those plastic gears. But modern plastics are pretty strong, and they're cheap to manufacture, so you're going to find them in these machines. And I have yet to see a modern plastic gear that has destroyed itself. I only see the older ones. So we're going to blow this out, and then we're going to come back and lubricate everything, clean, put it all back together, and then we'll see what's going on with our adjustments. Welcome back. Let's give it a try. Let's see what we can do with this sewing machine. So we got it all threaded up, ready to go. Got the bobbin in there. Got everything put together enough to test, so not everything is connected. So we'll just watch for the thread wanting to jump out of where it's supposed to be. But I don't think that'll be a problem. So we're just starting off with the regular straight stitch. Okay, we are not good. I'm not sure if it was because the cutter picked up and didn't cut, or I ended up with 2 threads on the bottom. I don't like how the stitches looked either. I can't see the stitches, I don't have my glasses. I'm back and I can see now. It's the evil inconsistent stitch. Now, let's just give us a zigzag and just see what's going on with that. Again, no bueno. I need to try without the thread cutter and just see if that's a thread cutter issue or something else. Well, we're definitely inconsistent. That's a funky looking inconsistency there. So I've been going through this machine, going through all the adjustments. I got the service manual, and some things were a little bit off, but nothing was really jumping out at me. And I went back to this. So I was really reluctant to look at the bobbin case for this machine, and the reason why is because I know how much these cost. So it's like 70 bucks for one of these. I'm not sure why these are so much more expensive than others, other than maybe this machine was a little bit more rare, and it doesn't share these bobbin cases with many machines. So that's probably why, is that they have to do shorter runs of these when they make them. So we do have some roughness around here. So I may try something I haven't really tried before. I've got some 600 grit sandpaper, and we can try and just do a little light polishing of this area and see if we can get it more smooth and more consistent in this machine. So let's go ahead and give that a try. If not, we're looking at an expensive fix. For you end up paying what the machine's worth for me to fix it at that point. I'm going to try a little bit of oil while I do this, just to keep it more of a polish instead of sanding. And like I said, I've never tried this with plastic before. I've done this on metal parts. So now I'm cleaning off the oil with the isopropyl alcohol. So that does feel better. We might just give that a try and see what we came up with. Well, let's see what we've got going on here. We smoothed out the bobbin case. I also adjusted the play of the hook gear and the needle center position. Oh, doesn't want to come out again. I really need to check that without doing the thread cutter to see if that's thread cutter is what's being my issue there. Those stitches are looking a lot better though. Alright, let's try zigzag. Maximum width zigzag. Oh, still got something stuck in there. But the zigzag is, well, except for where I just pulled the thread tight. The zigzag is a ton better than what we had before. So I think smoothing that thing is what did it for us. Now I gotta deal with a dull thread cutter, perhaps. So when I'm doing a thread cutter, I'll look at these little piles, and this one seems to be okay. That should be grabbing the thread enough to cut it. And so if the pile is working to hold the thread, then the other issue could be a dull cutter. Okay, I can tell right now just by looking at that. I wonder if I can... I don't know how macro this thing will go. So I don't know if you can see the edge of this blade, but just on the edge you can see that it's messed up. And that's probably why we're not cutting our thread. And I'll show you where to get these little blades. I have a supply that will last me years and years and years. If you have one of these knives where you break off the part of the razor to keep it going, and the refills for those knives are just about the same size. And when I say just about, I mean exactly the same size. Is one of these little guys. How about that? So the manual, the service manual does not tell you how to change that. You would think that it's an easy component to change, but it doesn't appear to be. And the fact that I got that one out means to me that maybe it wasn't in the right way either. Because I feel like I've got to pull apart this entire assembly to get to the part where where that blade is. We shall see. This could be a very, very bad idea or a very, very good idea. Okay, so there's our thread cutter assembly. This little cam right here falls off like that, but moves it back and forth. Trying to find where the knife inserts. See this gap right here? That's where your blade is going to go. So it slides inside of this piece because this is like a U shape and covers the blade. So the blade you can insert from the bottom. So let's get our new blade. So there are blades in. So where that mark was on the blade is where this little metal piece touches the blade. Is that supposed to be like that? I feel like it's not supposed to be like that. I feel like we're bent. I think that should be straight. This is one of those times where I could be wrong. But you never know till you try. And what I do know is that I have already touched the blade with this metal. So the blade that's installed is no good. Alright, so now that's straight. Oh, yeah. And now it covers up the whole blade. Can you see that? So before, this wasn't coming all the way back. It was stopping because it was hitting the blade. So now it comes all the way back. So that should cut our thread. Alright, let's get us a new blade in there. This is one of these expensive blades. Boy, that customer's going to be paying me a lot of money for all these blades. So this piece goes underneath there to hold the blade in place. Aha! See that? Oh, we're misaligned. See what I did there? I put it together wrong, so this right here needs to be on top of this piece, but it's underneath. Okay, I think we got everything lined up the way it should be. So we got the piece holding in the blade. We got this piece which is moving, both of these are moving very nicely. And now we got to try and put this all back together, which could have been a mistake to take apart. Let's see, what do we have here? I missed a piece. So that should be our entire thread cutter assembly minus the motor and gears. So now we got to put the rest of this together. So when you put this together, because I know you're following along at home, you want to make sure that the little peg on the bottom of this is inside that elongated slot right there. And then make sure that this shaft right here goes in through there. And then you line up these guys. And then ideally, this is just going to pop right in here. What are the odds of that? Oh! It just popped right in. Yeah! Yay! Alright. I did not expect that. I expected to be fighting with this thing for a little bit. Well, okay, we're going to fight with this last screw here. You notice my tools are encroaching on my work area. That's never happened before to me. I don't know. Alright, I'm in good spirits because I think we have the answer here. So I'm going to put this together. And then we're going to try again and see what we get. I got to figure out the problem because I'm almost out of bobbin. Can't wind a new one. That'd be impossible. Alright, let's see what we've got for our thread cutter. Comes right out. Okay, that was a fluke. That was a fluke. We'll try again. Oh, comes right out. Look at that. Stitches looking good. We'll go to our wide zigzag. Oh man, beautiful. So we have come a long way from that stitch to these stitches. So that's just a little knot from the tail from the thread cutter, but thread cutter is working great. So we had two problems with this machine. And who was I trying to blame in the beginning? The poor lady, or, well, I don't know if it's a lady, but the poor person that owns this machine. And what happens when you try and blame somebody else? Yeah, you got your other fingers are pointing right back at whose problem it is. So yes, this was my problem to fix. We found that for the Quantum Stylus 9960, if you need a bobbin case, you need some gold bars to go along with that and purchase one. They are very expensive, so we were able to polish this one a little bit with some 600 grit sandpaper and a little bit of sewing machine oil. Who knew? And then the thread cutter had a little bent piece in there that marred up the blade, so we replaced the blade. We figured out how to pull this whole thing apart and then put it back together, and now it's working great. So this machine is going on to sew another day. Thanks for watching.